Hey, what's up guys? So today we're going to be showcasing off another off-meta build, and we're going to be focusing in on a Chain Lightning Wizard because there is some support and they made some uniques basically based around Chain Lightning, but they definitely don't see any play, at least not in 2019. But we're going to be talking about the Mycon's Ball of Hate as well as the Velvet Cameral. These are two unique legendary items that basically support Chain Lightning, and it's very cool. Now, the build can definitely go up to T16 and do it at a reasonable pace, but I'm going to be considering this video a progress build, meaning that I'm still working on it, but I'm also using this video to serve as a purpose to try to get some of your guys' Diablo knowledge, if you guys know anything about Chain Lightning, because there's a lot of interesting things that go with it that are just kind of unknown, and I definitely tried to look it up, but again, no one's really talking about Chain Lightning at all in Diablo 3. But anyways, the Mycon's Ball of Hate allows you to electrocute and make it so it can chain to enemies that have already been hit. So we're using the Chain Lightning Electrocute ability, and that will give us 10. And what will happen is it will bounce in between enemies, and that can actually still proc the Paralysis and Manal Heal. And on top of that, we're also utilizing the Velvet Cameral, so that's going to allow it to jump to double the amount of enemies, so that's 20 enemies that it can bounce in between. If there's 2 enemies, it'll just keep on bouncing in between them because of the Mycon's Ball of Hate, which is quite cool. Now, our damage really just comes down to Manal Healed proccing, which on the secondary legendary ability, it makes it so enemies stunned with paralysis take 13,000 to 14,000% weapon damage as lightning. And the paralysis is a passive that you can put on your wizard, which grants a 15% chance when you're using lightning spells to stun all targets hit for 1.5 seconds. This does not work with Thunder Fury or any of the other skills that aren't considered spells in the game, so basically things like Storm Armor won't proc it. There's a lot of other things that won't proc it. I tried Fulminator. This is where I'm kind of asking you guys' Diablo knowledge here. So the Thunder God's Belt doesn't work. The Arkstone, which is the ring that you can have multiple people equip and have it deal lightning damage, that doesn't work. The Storm Armor runes don't work. The Mirror don't work as well when you're summoning the illusions. When you even have them use your abilities, that doesn't proc it. Again, Thunder Fury doesn't work either with this, and I don't think that there's any specific legendary that's going to actually be able to proc this. I would really like to try out Shard of Hate, but that thing is very difficult to test. I actually have the item, but it's a very difficult thing to actually test out. But as you'll see in the gameplay here, what it really comes down to is we're going up to a bunch of enemies, and then we're going to go ahead and activate Chain Lightning, and we're not going to be doing like any damage sometimes until that paralysis takes place, and you'll just see everything pop instantly. Like this elite group over here, you'll see that we're not doing like any damage because we don't do any damage until it all procs at once. So how I feel like paralysis works, and again, I don't understand the mechanic 100%, but what it seems like happens with paralysis is the amount of chain lightnings that are in the air can still activate paralysis, but it all activates at one time. You'll see time and time again from the gameplay, I'll be doing 0 damage, and then all of a sudden everything melts, because it seems like how it works is the paralysis procs all at once. There's like a certain like timer interval. It's like, okay, all lightning damage, okay, we're gonna go ahead and turn on the paralysis ability for like 1 second, and then it goes and shuts itself off, and then it has to re-proc. And so I think that that's how it works. Basically what it comes down to is sometimes you'll be doing no damage for like a brief second, and then everything will just pop instantly. Sometimes things will just pop instantly. It's kind of an RNG build, but the build is definitely different, and I want to say it's obviously going to be very unique because it's an off-meta build in the first place. But I thought it was a really cool idea. So what we're really looking to get on most of our items is attack speed, and I'll go ahead and go over the items here. It is going to be a very difficult thing to actually gear up for because it is going to be a LOD build, a Legacy of Dreams, which is a gem that makes it so while you have no set bonuses, every legendary item that you have equipped increases your damage dealt by 375% and reduces your damage taken by 2%, and this bonus is doubled for ancient items. You guys can definitely copy this build if you would like to, and it definitely is playable right now at T16, but again, I want to consider it a build in progress here, just like the title and the thumbnail have in it, because I want to get to the point where I feel like it's super OP, because I feel like This has a little bit of potential. Again, it comes down to scaling attack speed. In Diablo 3, the max attack speed, by the way, is 5, but that won't actually show in the stat sheet with the Shame of Delzier, which is going to make it so we're going to be able to activate Chain Lightning and attack 50% faster, but again, that doesn't show in the stat sheet. So in this build, from the gameplay, we don't even happen to have Bane of the Stricken on the Rift Guardian here, which actually makes the time to kill relatively slow if it doesn't spawn extra adds, extra like smaller enemies, because what happens is we're actually just hitting one target and it's not bouncing the Chain Lightning. We need it to summon like some small enemies. That way it basically has something to bounce to and proc all at once, and then that's how things are able to pop. This actually theoretically would maybe be a good build for Greater Rift pushings, just because everything is grouped up, and again, since you have all those Chain Lightnings going in the air at once where it's like chaining to all these enemies, and then when it snaps itself and turns on that paralysis, everything pops instantly. I would really love to try to do maybe higher GRs with it, but I'd like to try to perfect the build a little bit more before like going and asking for a group and then running something that would be like, what the heck is this, right? But anyways, it's definitely a fun build. So let's go ahead and go over the pieces of gear that you're going to be looking to actually get. So again, you're looking to get everything ancient. That's actually very important because that's a huge threshold on your stats here. But anyways, as far as the helm, you got to run Velvet Cameral. As far as what you're looking to get on every piece of gear, I'll leave the D3 planner down below if you guys want it, but pretty much you're not really looking to scale your damage in any particular area. You're just looking for attack speed where you can get it, and your standard crit hit damage, crit hit chance. But a Velvet Cameral is basically required, and you'll be noticing we're running a purple gem in here that's going to be increasing our life, the Amethyst, because there's really no point of cooldown reduction. If you want to actually run a cooldown reduction, it's definitely a viable option, and you would probably swap out Aetherwalker. This allows us just to teleport, and it actually gives us a lot of survivability. It gives us damage taken reduced via safe passage over here. So I do like it, not only for being able to get some damage reduction, but I like teleporting around a lot faster because it just makes these builds feel a lot better when you're able to clear content out much faster. So once again, Velvet Cameral is going to be in our helm. The shoulders literally do not matter because, well, it's just whatever you can get that happens to be ancient. That's the only important part, and just ancient legendary item. But you're just looking for int, vitality, life, and then I'm not sure if area damage works. I also want to ask you guys this because sometimes I'm thinking, oh well, is paralysis just proccing and then the area damage is proccing off of that, and that's how everything's melting? I really don't know. Because a lot of times the area damage won't work on certain proc effects. So if someone knows, let me know down below, but I honestly have no idea. We're running a Quill Quest because we don't actually really spend our resource other than with teleport with the Aether Walker because it makes it cost 25 arcane power. But yeah, it just kind of is free stats on damage reduction. Ashnagar Blood Bracers, these are actually quite important here. This increases the potencies of our shields, and this is how we have insane survivability because we're going to be running Scorched Necklace, and that makes us take more damage, but we're also going to have shields, and when you take shield damage, it doesn't actually reduce the Scorched Necklace mechanic where it says while not taking damage, your damage dealt is increased by up to 100%. You'll see that we'll keep it up. It's that little number in the buff bar. It's the very first one that's always going to be at 10 for the most part of my gameplay. But yeah, it's really cool. If you take shield damage, it doesn't really like hurt it, so that's why we're running the Blood Bracers here. And then we're running the Witching Hour, and then we're actually cubing the Shame of Delzier. This gives us extra attack speed for Chain Lightning, and this is just going to give us extra attack speed. It's the only belt in the game that will give us attack speed other than Quick Draw, which doesn't even see play because it's like a really low level item. Anyways, next up, Stone and Jordan, or you can run Convention of Elements, which is what I'm running in the gameplay. I just don't happen to have an ancient one, and just lightning damage, attack speed again. And then you also have that multiply with the elite damage. And then for the pants over here, you can't put Swampland Waders in D3 planners, so these are what they are. They just roll with lightning damage. It's pants that a lot of people with the LOD gem, they'll be running Swampland Waders. They're from the Witch Doctor. So that's what you're going to want in your pants. And then Halo of Carini, this is going to give you up to 80% less damage when you have your Storm Hour deal damage. But anytime that electrocute, it won't actually proc your ability with the Manald Heal, which is essentially what you're getting all your damage from. But it does give you that ability to just take extra damage reduction, and you can run a rune that gives you extra movement speed too, which is kind of cool. And then Aether Walker or Echoing Fury. Echoing Fury can give you up to 75% attack speed. Again, this build is literally just based all around attack speed to actually pop your enemies as fast as possible, get as many Chain Lightnings up in the air as fast as possible. And then we're running the Ice Climbers. So this really helps out with the gloves over here, which are going to be the Stone Gauntlets. So Stone Gauntlets will give us more armor, but it's going to reduce our movement and attack speed. But that won't matter because you can get rid of all the downsides with Ice Climbers. I'm not sure if this is intended, but yeah, it does definitely work as of right now. It could be patched later down the line, so I don't know about this one. I think it's really insane, though. It's absolutely amazing to be able to be like, okay, I actually get none of the downsides of this by just literally equipping this. A lot of people are using the Stone Gauntlets, and they're just using some like Uber ability, basically like Wrath of Berserker or any other ability that gives you immunity. These will work on them, so it's quite great. So I guess these are going to be nice for that. And then we're running, obviously, Mycon's Ball of Hate. Again, I'm not sure about area damage, but it is really cool. You don't roll like Chain Lightning damage. You're only, or it's technically Electrocute, but with the Rune Chain Lightning. But yeah, don't look for that on any pieces of the gear because, again, you just really want attack speed. So now that we went over the gear pieces, let's go ahead and go over the skills. So Electrocute, obviously Chain Lightning, because the whole point of this is to make a Chain Lightning wizard. Because Chain Lightning was kind of a thing in Diablo 2. It wasn't really considered meta. Everyone really just rolled like either Fireball or Blizzard because those were like considered a lot better. But Chain Lightning definitely saw a little bit of play in Diablo, or Nova was also something that people used in D2. But this is something I wanted to do, so again, it can definitely clear up to T16 in like a few minutes. It's just, I'd say like anywhere from like 4 to 6 minutes is on average for this build, but I want to get it up to 2 to 3 because I feel like that's where I consider like a good little benchmark. But we're running Hydra because Hydra can also proc the paralysis, and it doesn't really cost that much arcane power, and we can just throw one. And it also helps up with the seasonal buff, just keeping it refreshed. And then we're running Magic Weapon Deflection. This is what is going to give us a bunch of shields, and with the Blood Bracers, this helps so we don't actually lose extra damage with the Squirt's Necklace. And then we're running the Familiar, the Spark Flint, just to get some extra damage here. And then Storm Armor Scramble. This is going to make it so we're going to be gaining extra movement speed for 3 seconds when we're hit. And then we have Teleport, Safe Passage, and we're going to be taking 25% less damage. I don't know if it shows in the gameplay here because I have this little like thing opened up, as in like I have the D3 planner. But like you can get up to like billion defense. Like it's insane how much defense that you can get with this build because the shields just go out of control here. But we're running Paralysis, so obviously this is required with the Monolith Heal because that's what gives us all of our damage with the Chain Lightning. And then we're running Unwavering Will. This gives us extra damage, and also we're getting some survivability because sometimes you'll be sitting in these groups like that right there. You saw we did no damage and all of a sudden pop, and everything just instantly goes away. Again, I'm not sure if that's due to maybe area damage, or it could be just Paralysis proccing. Again, it seems like Paralysis turns itself on for like a split second, and then that Chain Lightning just melts everything, which is really cool. And then we have Galvanizing Wizard. This gives us a bunch more shields. And then we're also running Blur just to have some damage reduction. Honestly, I end up having like 3 million shields. So I honestly can make this build a little bit faster in the damage department, but it's not necessarily needing damage. It's needing the ability to activate the paralysis faster, as in we need a higher chance to have paralysis activate, or just more attack speed, so we're getting, you know, a higher chance to go ahead and activate it, like turn it on for that 1 second. That's what we're really looking forward to. Like, because again, you're popping things fast enough anyways. But I'm running Echoing Fury, and then the Stream of Delzier, and then I'm gonna heal in the cube over here. But anyways, guys, yeah, that is the build. Now I'm here to get some of your guys' thoughts on it. If you guys have some suggestions, let me know. Otherwise, I can definitely make this build viable. By the way, if anyone asks, Depth Diggers do not work. Those are the pants that increase your skills that generate resource. There's also the Gem of Simplicity that can also increase your damage of Chain Lightning. But remember, Chain Lightning is to be there just to bounce. It's not going to actually deal damage. Trying to scale this is very, very bad. You can attempt to scale it in a few pieces of your gear, and then you can also run, again, Simplicity Strength is the gem. It just doesn't actually scale very well. You're getting all of your damage from Paralysis. But I'm wondering if there's any other interesting interactions with certain other items that can work. Again, Shroud of Hate is too difficult to test because literally it just comes out as Chain Lightning, right? It comes out as a lightning bolt like right in front. So it's very difficult to test if those will actually proc. But I'm like 99% sure it has to come from specifically a lightning spell that you cast. It can't be like your followers' Arcstone is activating or anything like that. But anyways, guys, I'll update you guys in the future with this. And if you have any suggestions for this build, I would love to know down below in the comment section below. But I will also leave the D3 planner for anyone that does kind of want to go ahead and check out this build and have a little bit of fun with it. Again, I would say that I can augment the gear and probably get it ready within the next week, and I need to get certain rolls on certain things to make it a little bit more viable. But I basically need to get attack speed on everything, and because everything needs to be specific items, they also need to be ancient and they have to have the right rolls. It just, LOD builds are very, very time consuming, and that's why a lot of people don't build them until way later in the season. But anyways, guys, yeah, that's the build. Let me know if you have any ideas to make this build a little bit better. Obviously, yeah, we can remove the Aether Walker and run something else that maybe gives us extra attack speed. I was actually using, what was it, it's the one that makes it so your Spectral Blade attacks faster. I forgot the name of it. I didn't like that one because it doesn't actually proc as fast as the chain lightning that hovers in the air. I did test it out with some theory crafting. I wanted to make that work because you can make Spectral Blade attack super fast. But yeah, it's just the way it goes. But anyways, guys, I just want to mention, I don't have the Bane of the Stricken. That will make your elite kills much easier. I'm just trying to scale attack speed. And, well, basically, if you just time those angels, it's really easy to time the angels to be at the 500 kill mark for most of the Rift Guardians. And because you can stun, the angels don't die in one hit. Well, as fast. You can see the angels did a lot of damage, and then we're going to go ahead and actually clean up the elite over here. But anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in, guys, and I'll catch you guys on an updated build very soon. And if you guys haven't checked out my PoE videos, because Path of Exile just had a new update, and I'm going through a full tutorial guide. If you are a new player and you're interested in playing Path of Exile, go ahead and check out my playthrough series. I plan to basically hold your hand through the entirety of Path of Exile, because I know a lot of people want to get into the game, but it's very overwhelming when you see all of these skill trees and all of these new mechanics. It is not a simple game, but I'll also have that pinned down below. But anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys. Have a good one, and I'll update you guys with a future build of this very soon. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good one, and I'm signing out. Peace.